Southern Kurdistan. Suleymaniye was created by the British in 1918 as a semi-autonomous Kurdish region. In March 1919, the Kirkuk and Kivari regions were detached from the South Kurdish Confederation of Sheikh Mahmud and established as a new division. The Halabja district, while remaining part of the Suleymaniye division, was brought under direct British control. This act resented Sheikh Mahmud Barzanji, who rebelled against the British in 1920 and declared himself the ruler of all Kurdistan, seized the treasury, raised his own flag. Rebellion spread across into Iranian territory, and several tribes arose against the Persian government, proclaiming themselves partisans of Sheikh Mahmud and of his scheme for a free and united Kurdistan. He rebelled again between 1924 to 1932. However, the British had different plans for the region. After a short military operation, Sheikh Mahmud was defeated, captured, and deported to northern Kurdistan, and only was allowed to return to his family in 1941. Further, Mustafa and Ahmed Barzani continued their activities in Kurdistani Iraq. They led several insurrections between 1930 to 1936. Mustafa Barzani surrendered to the Iraqi forces in 1933 and was kept under control in Suleymaniye until 1943. In 1945, Mullah Mustafa Barzani instigated another rebellion to declare the autonomy of Kurdistan, but was defeated and escaped to Iran. However, following the bloody overthrow of the monarchy in 1958, a republic was established but failed to grant the Kurds autonomy. In 1959, Qasim imposed martial law, Arabized the names of Kurdish localities, closed down Kurdish organizations, including the KDP, arrested leading Kurdish nationalists and communists, and started bombing rural areas. In response, in 1961, the Kurds launched a war of liberation under Barzani leadership to secure autonomy within the framework of the republic, which lasted until 1970. Between 1961 and 1968, the armed struggle waged by the Kurds caused the fall of four Iraqi regimes until the Ba'ath came to power in July 1968. On 11th of February 1970, the KDP and the Iraqi government reached an agreement to create an administrative region with a majority Kurdish population who could exercise their full national rights and autonomy. The autonomy in northern Iraq was announced in 1974, but only for some parts of the region. Thus, Kurdish revolts began in 1974, but were suppressed in 1975 because the Shah of Iran and its ally, the United States, withdrew their support for Barzani's movement in exchange for some territorial concessions in the Persian Gulf. As a result, 150,000 to 300,000 Iraqi Kurds fled to Iran. Shortly afterwards, the Iraqi government proceeded to implement a policy of Arabization in the oil-rich and frontier Kurdish areas such as Kirkuk, Khanqin, and Sinjar. Hundreds of thousands of Kurds were deported to the south or the shrunken autonomous region. Towns and villages in parts of Kurdistan renamed. By the late April 1976, some 200,000 Kurds have been uprooted from their land in Kurdistan, mostly to be deported to the south, where they were scattered in groups of 3 or 4 families among Arab villages. For instance, the population of Kirkuk prior to the central government's Arabization campaign that commenced in the early 1960s, the Kurds constituted more than 64% of the total population of the Kirkuk government and 53% of the population of the Kirkuk district. By 1977, the Kurds represented 37%, while Arabs represented 44% and Turkmen 16%. The Christian population declined from about 9% to less than 2%. Furthermore, when the Iran-Iraq war began in 1980, Kurdish parties increased their control in northern Iraq and brought people back to the villages that were destroyed by the Iraqi government. In the meanwhile, the Americans continued supporting Saddam Hussein in his war against the Islamic Republic of Iran, even as his soldiers gassed and bombed Kurdish communities in March 1988. Halabja was attacked by chemical weapons and up to 5,000 people were killed, mostly civilians. The word's relative silence were again signs of betrayal. By the end of war in 1988, Iraqi forces full-scale attack on Iraqi Kurdish civilians and fighters alike in order to take control of northern region resulted in the killing of an estimated 200,000 people, the destruction of more than 4,000 Kurdish villages, and the forced deportation of 1.5 million Kurds in what Iraqi called the Anfal campaign. However, after the 1991 Gulf War, Saddam moved away from secular ideology and tried to Islamize the Iraqi identity and placed the phrase Allahu Akbar, God is great, on the Iraqi flag, and reframed the Kurdish-Arab partnership as a Muslim fellowship necessary to combat US and Zionist groups. Still, the Kurds staged their own popular uprising. In response, Baghdad counter-attacked brutally, which was ignored by United States and the coalition forces and resulted in over 2 million Kurdish villagers fleeing to Turkey and Iran in April 1991. Ankara was unhappy about the influx of Kurdish refugees and equally displeased by the international attention led the Western government to act. The Allies decided to take pressure off Turkey and to keep it on Iraq and passed Resolution 688 at the UN Security Council. The Allied protected zone gave the Kurds a type of de facto autonomy in their region. Furthermore, after the 2003 invasion of Iraq, the Kurds managed to strengthen their autonomous region in Iraq. On 25th of September 2017, Iraqi Kurds voted for independence. Voters in Iraqi Kurdistan overwhelmingly chose independence in a referendum held by regional officials despite objection by the Iraqi government. Baghdad rejected the result and the international community, those with sharehold in Kurdistan's oil companies, backed Baghdad to keep the flow of oil from the landlocked Kurdistan, which is estimated to have around 45 billion barrels of oil and 110 trillion cubic feet of gas, making it the 10th largest hydrocarbon reserve in the world. Indeed, the one Iraq policy pursued by the US, which prevents any direct sales of weapons or military equipment to the Kurds, has been an obstacle in the way of Kurdish independence.